Today we're talking about a topic that probably all of you are very curious about. How much can I earn in the field of UX? UX or user experience has become a hot career field in the recent years. One of the burning questions on everyone's mind when considering a new career is how much can I expect to earn? So let's break it down. UX is a broad field with various roles and specializations. These can range from UX researchers, UX designers to UI designers and more. Each role comes with different salary expectations. Your income will also differ on the location that you are based in and whether you have a remote job or an on-site job, your qualifications, and the type of employment or the company that you're working for. If you're working for a startup, a scale-up, or for example as a consultant. So I will talk salaries in the US market and in the German market today to keep it simple, because I know I live in Norway, so I have experience also from the Nordics, but I just want to keep it clean and simple. I think I will make an extra video about, sorry my dog, I will make an extra video about salary expectations in the Nordics, because that's also like a different topic. Let's start with the UX designer. As a fresh starting UX designer in the US with a 9-to-5 job, you might make around $50,000 a year. In Germany, if you land a job as a junior UX designer, you can expect a salary around 42,000 to 50,000 euros a year. But with experience, a senior designer can make over 100,000 US dollars annually. In the US. In Germany, the income will be a bit lower. It's around 60,000 to 85,000 euros a year. Again, in the regular 9-to-5, and the exact figure can vary depending on the industry, the company, and that. As a lead that is not on C-level, so talking about CEO, so for example, the director of UX or the director of design will make more money than what I'm talking about now. As a lead, you can earn anything above 120,000 US dollars a year in the US. In Germany, it's again a very wide variety from 60,000, I would say, to 100,000 euros a year, depending on the company that you're working for. Next, let's talk about the UX researcher. If you don't know what a UX researcher does, the role responsibilities usually are qualitative and quantitative research, such as user interviews, user testing, and other fun stuff. The average salary for UX researcher is around 85,000 US dollars a year, but it can go much higher with experience in certain industries. In Germany, from my personal experience, the salary can range very broadly and can go from 40,000 euros to 75,000 euros per year for a regular 9-to-5. And for a startup role, I'd say it's around 55,000 euros. Now, what about UI designers? User interface design is another key part of UX, and these professionals often earn similar salaries to UX designers. Often it's a little bit lower. Keep in mind, these roles require a different skill set and responsibilities, and they have different responsibilities. In the US, the average salary is around 50,000 to 75,000 US dollars a year, depending again on seniority. In Germany, a pure UI design role can pay around 40,000 to 45,000 euros a year as a junior, and then later on with more experience you can earn up to, I would say, around 60,000 euros a year. As a UX copywriter, you are responsible for the tone of voice and basically all text within the product. Sometimes this role can even extend onto marketing for the product. Depending on your qualifications and your background and the place of employment, again, you can make around 45 to 60,000 US dollars a year in the US and 37 to 55,000 euros a year in Germany working as a UX copywriter. Remember, keep in mind, these figures are estimates and actual salaries can vary. The best way to get an accurate idea of UX salaries in your area or the area that you want to work in or for remote jobs is to actually look at job listings online. Sometimes I think most of them write down what the salary expectation or what the the applicant can expect in terms of salary. I think it's more common in the US, to be honest. In Germany it's kind of mixed, and in Norway they often not really do this. So just look at job listings. That is one way of finding out how much you could earn. Also, maybe talk to professionals in the field and ask them what they're earning. If they're open to disclose it, then you might get a number. I might also make a video about my income at some point. I haven't decided yet. But because it's so hard to actually relate to someone else's career and their stages of income, because everyone's salary is different. It also depends on how well you can negotiate, to be honest, and everyone's career is different. Like, I have a totally different background than, for example, yesterday I had a talk with a company, and there was a PO, and she had a background in political science. And so her background looks very different from other POs that I've worked with, and she's probably earning also differently than a PO that has, for example, a tech background. I also worked with POs that have a degree in informatics, like computer science, and they earn differently than someone else. So it's very hard to actually find someone to compare. I also think it's important to note that the salary is just one factor that you should consider when choosing a career in UX. I actually think that it's not good to pursue this career only for money reasons, but you do you. You should also consider job satisfaction, work-life balance, opportunities for advancements, the specific type of work you want to do, because these I mentioned UX designer, UI designer, and UX researcher now as separate roles, but there are also very often roles that are called UX designer or product designer or service designer, and all of these roles contain all of these elements, so your responsibilities will be UX, UI, and research, just so you are aware of that. It's not always clearly, strictly separated from each other, so it's important that you know what you want to do. But yeah, depending on the type of character that you are, if you're just in it for the money, it will probably not be a sustainable job choice for you. Also, don't forget that UX professionals often have the opportunity to work remotely, which can provide additional flexibility and benefits. It's often the case that when remote work is allowed or hybrid work is allowed, that this is used as an argument to push the price or push the salary down. I have to add here that this mostly applies for jobs in startups and freelance roles, from my experience, and it's also dependent on where you're working. I think it's more common in Germany and the US. In Norway, it's not, sadly, not as common to work remote as it is in Germany or the US. Here, it's more like a very strict in-office policy, which I personally don't prefer, but for the US and for Germany you can find remote jobs. Lastly, it's important to remember that the field of UX and the industry is rapidly evolving, and also the demand for UX professionals is actually rising, even though we see all those layoffs in tech. So these numbers that I just dropped can change as the industry continues to grow. I hope this video has given you an understanding of what you can expect to earn in the field of UX. If you have any questions, let them down in the comments. Abandon them down in the comments. Write them down in the comments. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, please do that, and I will see you next time. Bye.